hey there. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Hey, I hope the world's being good to you and you're being good to it. Hey, a movie that I like? Ronin. Why do I like Ronin? Well, it's kind of an interesting one. So, Ronin deals with the samurai. Now, I'm no expert on the samurai culture, but I do believe the Ronin, as they explain it in the movie, Ronins are samurai who lost their master, or they're masterless, which is not great. If your master was killed, well, you didn't do a very good job. You didn't do a very good job of being an old samurai there. I think that'd be pretty close to like today. If you're a bodyguard who didn't do a very good job bodyguarding, well, you kind of wear it as a mark of shame. So, how does it fit in with the story? Well, it's complicated. The movie's complicated. Let me explain a little bit there. So the guys and gals, I should say, when you start watching the movie, you're expecting a little build-up, like, hey, we're going to introduce the story, we're going to give you some background. No, they just drop you right in. It's like, hey, hit play and boom, these guys are all coming together now, and they're doing this heist, and we don't know why. They don't know why necessarily either. So you're as in the dark as the characters, which is kind of neat. It's a thing, I like the touch. That just came to me. I just thought about that, and maybe that's what they wanted when they're making the movie. That you're as clueless as the characters, but they figured out. Eventually, as the viewer does too, you figure it out along the way. So anyway, you've got to do a lot of the work as a viewer, putting the pieces together and connecting some of the dots, because it doesn't do a lot of hand holding. Ronin doesn't know. They give you a story that there's no lead up to it. You're just in the middle of it, and you're in chapter 10, and you got to figure out and write your own chapters 1 through 9, and then you get to jump on the ride for the rest of the way. But what I really like about Ronin, and I think where Ronin gets its maybe its fame, is from the action. So it is a heist movie, a revenge movie, and there's a lot of action. In fact, this movie here probably has some of the most famous car chases, car action sequences in cinema. They'd have to be on an all-time great list anyway, for sure. It's kind of alarming, actually, how many pedestrians and innocent bystanders are taken out in this movie. It's the movie does a job of just focusing on that happening. Like, you're watching it, all of a sudden they zoom to this guy in the farmer's market there, and he's boom, he's toast. He gets shot or he gets hit by the car, and they focus on that, and they want you to know that it's happening, which kind of dark, right? But it doesn't seem to faze anyone. It's like, oh, let's just continue our car chase and shooting at one another. Hey, yeah, sounds good, guy. Let's do that. And so they do. But I have to say, Mr. Robert De Niro here is quite the badass. He is personifying the Ronin, and I think he's got a good overall moral compass. Yeah, I mean, he's doing some shooting, and he's blowing things up and he's stealing things, but he lives by a code. So there's this one sequence in there. Speaking of how badass he is, he's just sitting in a car waiting for an ambush. He is the ambush. He's waiting to ambush, and he pops out and he's got a rocket launcher. He's holding that in his lap. What you got there, guy? You got a rocket launcher? Are you happy to see? Oh, it's a rocket launcher. Okay, well. So he pops out with a rocket launcher and he blows up a car, and the camera pans away. You're like, oh wow, that was a neat sequence there. And then it pans back, and he's got a big gun, and he's just just mowing the bad guys down. Like, whoa, where did the gun come from, Mr. De Niro? He had that in the back seat with him too, I guess. Yeah. So they got some other really good guys in here too. Good actors. So there's Jean Reno. He's the guy who always shows up in sort of these clandestine roles. You don't know, is he coming, is he going, is he good, or is he bad? He just fits because he's quiet, he's unassuming. You want to trust him, but you're not sure. And that I like him in that. Let's see. You got Natasha McElhone. She's in stuff, and she's sort of like a proxy boss in here. So she's got enough information to give the orders, but she doesn't know necessarily why the orders are being given either. So makes an interesting dynamic there. Let's see. Who else we have? I don't know what it is, but there's certain characters that I will just never trust, and Jonathan Pryce is one of them. And Jonathan Pryce is in here, and well, you'll have to decide if you trust him or not. But I'm just gonna say I don't trust him. I never trust him. I don't know what it is, but he's just a guy, but he's shifty. Stellan Skarsgård, the Skarsgård clan, he's up to his tricks too. He just looks devious in this movie. He plays devious perfectly, and you gotta love it. It's great. Let's see who else we got. Oh yeah, and let's not forget one of my all-time favorites is this guy dies, I swear, in like every movie and show that he's in. Is Sean Bean. I mean, just a great character. You want to root for the guy. You want him to stick through the whole thing because you're like, oh, he brings some weight to the screen. What is it? The gravitas? But then he dies. Not in this one necessarily. He dies emotionally. His pride gets it gets ended. So anyway, Ronin's a movie I like. Maybe you'll like it too. Give it a shot. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later.